What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday!
Happy Tuesday. Another day with some daily gaming news.
Some news, and I saw there was a gun mug sip redemption already.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
cheers.
I'm gonna
thanks
sip.
For the dono, Kai. Cheers.
I'm gonna sip right. Oh, hey, thanks, Kai. Thank you so much. I'm gonna sip the dice mug just for that. Kaisa.
Yeah.
You have like a very interesting look going on right now. You about to play some Fortnite or something?
I look like I'm about to play some Fortnite. I put on this fit and was like, I look like a Fortnite caster. So dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Well, I want this job. I'm like, you know what? Why not just go for it?
That's hilarious. It does totally look like you need to. This needs to be like your screen grab at the front of your YouTube video about Fortnite tips. Yeah, there you go.
Whoa!
What? And you've got the pickaxe next to you.
Exactly.
So
yeah, for
oh
real.
God. Well, let's go ahead and jump in to our first topic of the day, the one that we ended with yesterday, as I think a lot of us are hyped for this one, as there is an update regarding this horror game that's supposedly coming from Kojima.
So there is an update, and it's not a good update because last we heard Hideo Kojima wanted to work with manga artist Junji Ito, who is a legendary manga artist, makes super creepy comics. And there was an announcement that they were going to work on a game together, but now it was announced that they're actually not.
No, so it looks like, in translation of a tweet from Junji Ito, it reads, in a past interview, I said casually that I received an offer from Mr. Kojima, but in reality, it was a remark made at a party where he said, if there is an opportunity, I may ask you for your help. I apologize to Mr. Kojima and all the fans to whom I may have given false hope.
Ito never claimed that Kojima Productions was developing a horror game or that there was any official agreement, so the only exaggeration was calling it an invitation rather than a casual remark. The interview did set off a lot of speculation, however, as I've seen on Twitter. You've probably seen all over Twitter. There were articles about this, and some fans might have definitely read into it a bit too much, but it doesn't mean a collaboration won't ever happen, but at least for right now, as we know it, there's no collab announced.
But we do have our fingers crossed because ever since Kojima killed off Kojima Productions' Silent Hill PT, which was a playable teaser that we're playing here, people have been keeping their fingers crossed for Hideo Kojima returning to horror. And these hopes have been stoked by the designer himself, but we still don't know what the studio's next game will be.
Speaking with Comic Book, the Tomy creator said he'd been talking to Kojima about collaborating on a horror game that the designer may be doing, but he didn't offer any details about the game itself.
And whenever the subject is raised in interviews, Kojima always seems pretty keen to get stuck in horror again. And last year he tweeted about a part of his process for making horror, which not surprisingly involves watching scary movies. He also expressed a desire to work on smaller games, manga, and movies.
Given that this project is still just an idea that Kojima is throwing around, it's unlikely that an official announcement will be coming anytime soon if it gets made at all. A photo of his desk featuring Death Stranding's BB got people speculating that the studio's next game is a Death Stranding sequel. Kojima said he'd been discussing characters, the world, and other ideas with art director Yoji Shinkawa while they've been working from home, but otherwise it's still a mystery.
And in the meantime, you can finally play Death Stranding on PC for all you PC gamers out there that have been excited about the chance to dive in. And despite largely being about walking around, aka a walking simulator of a striking Icelandic wilderness, it still has its fair share of horror, and sneaking through the BT zones is pretty nerve-wracking, at least until you've done it 1,000 times. It's not quite a full-fledged horror game, but it's probably the closest we're going to get from Kojima for a while.
We've been hearing a lot about, is Kojima going to be working on a horror game next? And now fans have totally kind of run, with this idea that he was working with Junji Ito. Maybe there was something lost in translation. Maybe Junji Ito himself kind of overstated what Kojima said, that it wasn't an invitation to work with him. It was just kind of a remark of like, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
That was more just kind of like generally like friendly, like maybe they will be working together in the future. Or, maybe they reach out to each other for advice. I would really like to see a new horror game. Yes. I would really like to see these two creators collab. I hope that, with the rumors taking off, they see that fans really want this to happen, and maybe it'll kind of like reverse engineer itself into, coming to reality.
That's exactly what I was thinking, was this dialogue has created this like fire of commentary of wanting this from Kojima, and it's like a reverse psychology on him where he's like, maybe I'll do it, I don't know, and then the fans are like, please, for the love of God, do it. Because I think one of the things as we watched the footage here, and anybody, I saw someone mentioning PT is scary. Yeah, Kai Almighty was talking about that. Is like, this was a very scary experience, and I stopped playing it maybe like 6 laps through in the house. It was just really getting under my skin. But then people went in and started to like examine how much detail was in there, and to discover things like she's following you the whole time.
Yes.
The different aspects of where she might be and how that's all just all of that was this layer of detail that I'm like, man, as much as I'll probably never play it, I would love to see Kojima get back into doing a horror game.
PT was just so legendary, and it wasn't even a full official game at all. But yeah, as you said, it's been, super analyzed. While you're walking down the halls, as you said, there's like this woman following you the whole time, but she's never actually in the camera frame. Like, she didn't need to even exist in this video game. But the fact that, she does, and you never see her or you never know anything about her, is like even more terrifying. I don't know if that, comes through. It would be super cool to see a test of like, do gamers pick up that like something is wrong? Or do they not? And I'm really looking forward to, if Kojima works on another horror game. I personally don't think Death Stranding needs a sequel. I haven't played it yet, but it seems like it was meant to be a standalone game. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Kojima wanted it to be standalone. I don't know what a sequel would be. It would just be a bigger space that you walk around, of more of Iceland, or, maybe there's more civilization, but that's a different tone. Like, Death Stranding is supposed to be, a pretty lonely game where you search for human interaction.
Exactly. Yeah, that is the whole purpose. And for me, I think Kojima's the kind of person of like, I don't need, I will tell as much of the story as I want to tell. Merc, it says, I haven't seen any PT gameplay. If you can, go to YouTube. If you can tolerate those, those experiences, watch someone play PT, no commentary to get in the way of it. There is so much of that experience that is just unnerving. And it was just this demo. You know what I mean? It was just a demo. And he did so well with it. I think we are going to see him doing a horror game. And he might just be saying it so much because he is working on one, and we just aren't aware of it. That when it comes out, he's like, okay, guys, you knew it. Here it is. Here's my horror game. And we're all like, yes.
Right. Totally. He might, this might really be in the works. It's just under NDA or something like that. I love what Philip says. Y'all killing Death Stranding. No hate to Death Stranding. I just realize that that's the kind of game it is, and I think if you go into that game with those expectations, you're going to enjoy it. But initially, I remember a lot of people were really hyped for Death Stranding, and they were like, what is this walking simulator? But if you go into it knowing that it's a walking simulator, and that is the gameplay, or a big part of it rather, then you'll have a lot of fun. Yes, you will have a lot of fun. You unfortunately can't play PT anymore. Now, some people who were able to download it during the time and they have it on their PlayStation can play it. However, if you do have access to Dreams on PlayStation 4, people have recreated the PT experience in Dreams, so you can get somewhat of what it's like. But to get the full experience, probably just go and sit down and watch a gameplay. I love the comment, because I was thinking about it as well. The thing in the sink, people were like, what's the thing in the sink? Yeah. And I was like, I know, right? So there's so much of the PT experience that it is like, I think a lot of us wanted to see it get its full, portrayal in an entire experience, that some of us are saying, hey, Kojima, please go do another horror game and take these elements that you were going to use in PT and put it in some new experience. I believe he's the creative that can figure that out. I think so too, and I really hope to, see what his next project is. He's, legendary in the world of gaming with the storytelling and, how he approaches creating games. So I'm really excited to see what comes next from Kojima. But our next story is about a game that is coming out soon. That is very true, as maybe this got brushed under the rug, because when we talked about the Spider-Man game for Miles Morales dropping on PlayStation, it was only understood to be a one-off, like a infamous Second Son type experience. But are we actually about to see a full remake? We might, because it looks like Sony really undersold Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it might come with a full remaster of the original. So it's
Begs the question, how does Sony sell people on the most wildly successful PlayStation exclusives featuring one of the most wildly famous and iconic comic book heroes by confusing them? Really?
Are they pulling an Xbox here? Just kidding. So we've already suffered from some mixed messaging when Sony appeared to debut Spider-Man Miles Morales as a full sequel and then very quickly had to walk everything back. Now it seems like they may have undersold the game out of the gate. If any of you remember when we first saw this Miles Morales trailer, people were thinking, oh, it's the next Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man 2. But then they were like, no, it's not. It's not a full game. It's kind of a game. And we're like, what is this? So now we finally have an answer.
And so, according to a write-up in Game Informer magazine, this was spotted by somebody on Reddit, member 77good123, Miles Morales will include a quote-unquote remastered version of Insomniac's Spider-Man 4 that takes full advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware, end quote. Cue record scratch say, what? Are you kidding me? Wait, we're getting the full game?
Did I read that right? Did I hear that right? So while a lot of people assumed this was coming because Sony touted a Spider-Man remaster as one of the first PS5 tech demos, it's strange that this wouldn't be the upfront message right inside of the showcase it was presented in.
Exactly. Now, one of the people who was able to break this news was Destructoid, and they reached out to Sony for clarification on the matter as they haven't gotten any information. So at this point, we do kind of have to treat this as a rumor, but this is a direct quote from Game Informer.
This is wild. I'm glad to see it because I think we all wanted to see a remaster of the PS4 Spider-Man. We wanted to see that, in the next gen. They've already created New York. You don't have to recreate Manhattan every time there's a new PlayStation game.
Right.
I mean, they're still using the same web mechanics from the OG games like generations of consoles ago. Like this game can just be upgraded with the times. There's no reason to recreate everything, but there is a reason to remaster because with the SSDs and the load times on the new consoles and on next gen, like you're going to be able to zip all around the city in a way that you wouldn't have been able to before.
Yeah, this is not surprising, as when we were first hearing, and by the way, these comments, my body is ready from Philip over there. Yes, Guff Waffle, the last Spider-Man game was probably one of the most amazing experiences you could get on a current gen, and they would show off the SSD time of the new PlayStation 5 technology by using how fast the game would load using Spider-Man to do so. Mm-hmm. So when they announced Spider-Man Miles Morales, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. We're going to get the whole game with it. And then they were just like, no, it's just the Miles Morales experience. And now we're getting the information of it being a full game. I was like, of course it's going to be the full game. You guys have been showing this off since you've been showing off your new tech.
Right. That was kind of the initial, initial thing we got with the PlayStation 5 was how fast it could load Spider-Man. Like that was our first look at what it could do. I feel like but Sony's not saying that Spider-Man is kind of their like flagship game, like for the next gen, but it seems like Spider-Man pretty much is.
And this is one of those things. If you have a chance to play this game, you should. And if you get a PlayStation 5, grab Miles Morales, because I think what we're going to see is this game show how much more powerful the PlayStation 5 is compared to the PS4. And I think this will actually be great for Sony, as they don't really have to do much. Insomniac's clearly already been working on it with the PlayStation 5 in mind and knowing to show off, the full power of the PlayStation 5. And you can do direct comparisons. Here's why you want a PS5. Here's why you want to upgrade. Here's the Spider-Man running on a PS4. Here's it running on a PlayStation 5. Allow yourself to see YouTube videos or to play it and see the difference and be drawn in as to why you should join the PlayStation 5 for the next gen.
I could definitely see, people who played Spider-Man on the PS4 just get this as a kind of an insta-buy for the PS5, even though they've already, played a similar version of the game. I think this is an insta-buy for me on the PlayStation 5. Like, it's just gets so good. It just gets better and better. This is a legendary, series of games. Even people are still memeing like the pizza delivery quest and like the music from that. And like Spider-Man is just so like, he's just so cool through the generations, like no matter what.
And they do a great job of capturing that in this. And even Echo Boz just said something right there. And this is huge. The Game of the Year edition is on sale right now on the PlayStation Store for $20. dollars. If you have the ability to spend that money and you can make that happen, you can get the full experience. That means the expansions that came with it on the PlayStation 4 right now. So you yourself can dive in, see what this is like. And then when you jump over and want to play Miles Morales for PlayStation 5, you'll be able to have that direct comparison of remembering what it was like to play it on the PS4 and now seeing what it's like on the PlayStation 5. It's a big deal. Thank you for throwing that in there, Baz.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's a big deal. I'm looking forward to playing this. I think that this is, an instant hit. I have no doubts that Miles Morales is going to be a fantastic game.
Same here, and I hope Insomniac and Sony do come out and address this, and we're not left with kind of the commentary early on, which is the whole, are they pulling an Xbox? Is it confusing? Don't confuse us, please. Whatever you do, don't confuse us. Just be clear on this, and it could be just a situation maybe of unintentionally forgetting or not really saying like, oh yeah, we were saying we were adding the expansion, but we are also shipping you the full game. Could have been a moment like that. I will keep my fingers crossed that they're not trying to go the way of Microsoft with this kind of information.
Same. Hopefully it was just kind of an oversight, or maybe because they've been working on it for so long, they didn't realize that to, consumers new to the concept, that it wasn't fully understood.
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets cleared up as well, because we have been, really cheering for Sony's messaging on the PS5. And I don't want any confusion. I don't want their campaign to turn into Xboxes.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for the host, Pittsburgh. Our next story is one that's really interesting because we know this game is coming out, but Cuphead gets itself this really creepy stop motion trailer for the upcoming PS4 launch.
Cuphead, as you all know, the hard as nails run and gun platform game, is coming to the PlayStation 4 today. Studio MDHR announced the game's arrival on Sony's console with a fun and pretty creepy stop motion trailer featuring Cuphead and the evil King Dice. And it's not just me calling this creepy, because I think Cuphead is super creepy to begin with. I hate old-timey cartoons, but this is an article from The Verge who also calls it creepy. So it's not just me.
So we're going to check out the trailer right now and just be creeped out together. So let's enjoy, everybody. Let us enjoy.
I already hate it.
Stuffing away. What does the cup have to say?
I wanna play. Whoop.
Gather round, hear what I have to say. Happy news I bring to you today.
I gotta learn the song on the xylophone.
Oh yes, it's here on the PlayStation, dear. Don't you wanna have a hoot?
I do.
So come with me, we'll work assiduously. Now hear this. It's out right now.
It is kind of a bop. It is a bop. It was creepy, but I thought it was cool that they made just like a whole new song for this announcement.
Okay, so the song slapped a little, but I think the imagery and the
oh my god,
approach
nightmares.
is nightmare fuel. That's what I was. Yeah, it's pure nightmare fuel. Oh my god.
Someone guy has no chill. Oh my god. So
none at all.
as you know, Cuphead was already renowned for its hand-drawn art style that made it feel like a 1930s cartoon you could play. But the new trailer put two of the game's most iconic characters in a whole new style of animation inspired by the 1933 experimental short The Peanut Vendor. Studio MDHR co-director Chad Moldenhauer said in a PlayStation blog post.
So, Studio MDHR worked with Toronto-based studio stop motion department to make the trailer. And they, quote unquote, went the extra mile to ensure they were holding themselves to many of the same techniques of stop motion animators of the era.
So the film itself was animated without the assistance of computer programs that allow modern stop motion animators to preview their shots and correct errors. Instead, Philip Eddles and Evan DeRushy limited themselves to drawn out charts and metal gauges to record the position of each puppet before lining them up to their next position. This mimicked the try your best and see what happens limitations of the early stop motion productions. They did this the OG way.
So finally, the whole thing was filmed using real lenses from the 1930s, known as C-mount lenses for all you film buffs watching right now, which blow out that footage and give it that deliberately vintage look. Each shot was used as is with no corrective editing or compositing, meaning that if you look closely enough, you will see supports and other animation implements in the background.
Cuphead first launched in 2017 on Xbox and PC and made its way to the Switch last year. There is no current news on the second Cuphead game to address chat, but today it's out on PlayStation 4.
That is right, and this is honestly one of the most difficult games to play. It is punishing purposefully. It is one of those games that it is like, if you enjoy this kind of challenge, it's great to dive in for it, but do expect to die a lot.
A lot. I really like how they went, the old school way to film that stop motion trailer, using 1930s tech. I think it was a great way to, show how much they understand the art style and to add, another layer of culture, really, instead of this just being kind of like, oh, like a kitschy, old style cartoon. They also know their stuff.
Yeah, that is true. And someone was asking, so Merc was asking any news on the second Cuphead game. And all we really know right now is that they did release this for PlayStation 4, which was a pretty big deal, that it was coming over there. So maybe we are going to hear something soon, but no official word yet on, Cuphead 2.
No official word yet. So if you have been dying to play Cuphead, you can get it on PlayStation 4. You will be dying a lot. After you've already been dying to play.
I like what you did there.
Thank you. It's frustrating, but it's also very fun. If this is the kind of game that you like, if you like high pressure, high stakes of just like, don't think, just shoot the boss, just avoid all the bullets and everything.
Exactly.
Then you're gonna have a lot of fun.
You will have a lot of fun with Cuphead looking for that kind of experience. But another experience that is taking some records now is one specifically for all of you Pokemon Go fans out there, as it looks like Pokemon Go has set a record number for nearly 1 billion Pokemon caught at this year's online-only fest.
And that's 1 billion with a B. So this with a B. This year's online-only Pokemon Go Fest took place over the weekend, and since it was the first one open to all players regardless of their physical location, it's perhaps not surprising to hear it was the biggest one yet. Niantic says a record number of millions of trainers took part from 124 countries and regions around the world, catching nearly 1 billion Pokemon in total.
And the event involved new quest lines each day, culminating in players battling Team Rocket's leaders and catching Vicentini, a mythical Pokemon that was made available in the game for the first time. Other features of the fest included new shiny Pokemon and regional Pokemon appearing outside their typical habitats, although not as many as might be normally found at an in-person event. The online regional edition we personally viewed was Heatmore, which is normally only found in the Western Hemisphere.
Although the event was designed to have been possible to play from home, Niantic says players walked an average of almost 15 kilometers each. An in-game item that attracts Pokemon was made more effective for the duration of the fest, and Team Rocket members could be seen in balloons that floated across the sky, but it would have been easier to complete the quest lines if you left the house.
And as previously announced, Niantic is using proceeds from the $14.99 ticket sales to help fund projects like Black AR creators and US NPOs working on rebuilding local communities. The company has pledged a minimum of $5 million, but ticket sales have actually pushed that number up past 10 million. Way to go, Pokemon Go community.
Way to go, Pokemon Go. I think this news is just so wholesome all around. People participating from 124 countries, walking 15 kilometers each. They're also donating money to help, Black AR creators and to support and rebuild local communities. I'm like, this is so wholesome.
It really is. And this is what, part of me is like, I'm surprised, but I also would expect this to come from a place like Pokemon, and what Pokemon Go, what that kind of like interest first started when it came around, and seeing how many people loved it. And now with the downtime that people have in quarantine and needing to be able to do things while maintaining social distancing, but also having some sort of outside activity, this is great. And the amount of walking that you can do and go and still have this, experience to help you decompress from what it is that you're seeing. Nearly 1 billion. Oh my God, that's such a massive number. We don't really have an understanding, but whenever I hear the billion, my brain's like, oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and I haven't heard anything about, tech issues at all, which is really impressive to have over 1 billion Pokemon caught, and there's, no really reported issues or, anything necessarily going wrong with this event. This also really solidifies, how big Pokemon is. Pokemon is not going out of style anytime soon. We still haven't heard more from that Pokemon MOBA.
Oh my God,
Unite,
yes.
I believe it's called, which I'm looking forward to, but Pokemon is still, a giant of the industry. And while it seems like they're gearing more towards, young kids, as Pokemon kind of always has, as gamers grow older and people who watch the series grow older, there's still an opportunity for you to participate in fests like this.
Yeah, and if you would have told me years ago when I was collecting Pokemon cards, and I still have my Pokemon card collection back home from when I was doing that this would be as big as Pokemon would be achieving this kind of notoriety and status in the world, I wouldn't have believed it. But honestly, seeing it now and seeing this community and paying attention to what it's like going through this, pandemic, now is the time for something like Pokemon Go, and now is the time for something like this community to continue to grow and do more and hit these record numbers as people are wanting to do more and to use this world that just kind of, it allows you to be a part of it. You get to become your own Pokemon trainer, you yourself, not someone else or an avatar. It's you. For real.
And I saw a tweet that was like, go back to 2016. Like, it was the summer, everyone was listening to the Chainsmokers Closer song and like playing Pokemon Go, walking around. And Pokemon Go was massive for maybe about a year, and then a lot of people kind of stopped playing it and just kind of wrote it off as just like a trend. But we're really seeing that it's here to stay. It really does have a place. I think it's cool that it bridges the gap between the digital world and the real world, so to speak, and the physical worlds by encouraging you to go outside and you can play your games in a way that adds to your health, not takes away from it.
That's a sound statement there. Adds to your health. It adds to your mental well-being. It allows you to gamify that experience. And Crispy just put something in there too that's kind of that moment of like why 1 billion is so huge, is like we don't really understand how much 1 billion is, so you need to see it broken down in a way that you can digest it, because you're like, oh, 1 million, kind of have an idea of that. There's more of a general way of coming up with that, but once you see 1 billion as it actually is, it's very hard to comprehend. Your brain almost just wants to be like, nope, I don't want to accept this as a reality. So to know that this number was near that's how many people were playing it all over the world, and that this number was pushing that, you're like, oh wow, I really have to take a moment and kind of like applaud them. That's a big accolade to say that they have achieved, just specifically for this one app.
It's absolutely huge. And it kind of brings us into our next topic, because Xbox Game Pass has 10 million subscribers, which is a lot. So that's million with an M. We're not talking about any B's. And we came across an article that reported on how Xbox Game Pass is not a big moneymaker right now, but Microsoft is thinking long term. And this is something that I was really interested in learning more about, because we've been talking so much about the Game Pass, about how it seems like Microsoft is really focusing on that instead of pushing consoles. And now we have more insight as to how that's, how well that's doing and how much, that adds to the company.
Yeah. And so this is where it came from. It came from Xbox's marketing boss, Aaron Greenberg. And we know that the Xbox Game Pass offers a great value for many games. And many of us are wondering, how is Microsoft maybe not losing money hand over fist with this? So there was an interview done with Greenberg, and he said in a recent interview with What's Good Games, breaking down how Game Pass is currently working for Microsoft.
He said that don't worry about Microsoft. They'll be just fine, even if they're taking a loss on Game Pass right now. In terms of profitability of Xbox Game Pass for Microsoft, Greenberg confirmed it's not a big profit play right now. The investments Microsoft is making in Xbox Game Pass today might be costly in the short term, but they will ultimately pay dividends down the road if everything goes according to plan.
And this is what Greenberg went on to say more of. He says, we always laugh when we hear that. Clearly, they get it pretty often. He says, please don't worry about us. We're going to be all right. I think we're going to be okay.
So with Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft is focusing on over-delivering on value, even if it comes at the cost of profits in the short term.
So he goes on in this interview saying it's a different mindset. If you do optimize for profit and you do specifically say, you can either say this, you could say, how do we get as much profit out of each customer? Or do we pivot and say that, how do we add as much value to our fans? How can we actually over deliver on value? And if you can do that, you build fans for life.
Greenberg went on to say that Microsoft is focused on enriching the value of Xbox Game Pass, and the company has already done this by adding Project xCloud to the service at no extra cost, which is their cloud gaming platform. If people enjoy your product, they may tell their friends, and this is some of the most effective and influential marketing in existence, according to Greenberg.
He continued by saying this: when people feel like you're over delivering on value, they want to not only continue to use your service, but they want to tell their friends about it. The most powerful marketing is word of mouth marketing. We can't create as many advertisements, as many assets as we want, but if both of you go tell one of your closest friends you have to get Game Pass, that's way more effective than any marketing that I can do. For us, we want to just keep adding more and more value to the Game Pass so you feel really good about that and you feel like you want to go tell your friends about it. And ultimately, we think long-term that that's the right thing for the business and will have long-term benefits for us. In the short term, yeah, it's not a big profit play, but we think long-term it works out for everybody.
I think that's true. I think word of mouth marketing is really undervalued, in this digital space. Whenever you hear about marketing, it's always about going viral. How do we go viral? Influencers. How do we go viral? But one of the 4 P's of marketing for you marketing heads out there is products. And like at the end of the day, if your product's not good, it's not going to perform well. So when I hear word of mouth marketing, I relate that to just having a good product that, people want to share with others, and that's going to be an effective marketing play in and of itself. So to help get Xbox Game Pass growing, Microsoft offered subscriptions for only $1. This helped the subscriber base grow to more than 10 million so far. If Microsoft is indeed losing money on Xbox Game Pass right now, the company can afford to take the hit.
That is true, because I did jump in on this dollar opportunity and did some, not loopholes, but actually some ways of getting the Xbox Games Pass to like almost 2 years worth for the cost of one game, $60.
Wow.
This was a way of actually being able to do that. Which when I heard that, I was like, it's not like you're doing like a scheme or anything. You just have to take these steps to buy the passes, and then it wraps everything over. It was really crazy, but I was also at the same time like, I think they want more people to get on board. And this analyst, Sirkin Toto, recently pointed out that Microsoft is one of planet Earth's few trillion-dollar companies.
Trillion.
Yeah. We've gone from M to B to T. So trillion-dollar companies, for everyone's mind to explode even more, they bring in more than $120 million US in profit every single day. Toto said Microsoft is in a position to bring cannons to a knife fight as it builds the Game Pass. It's just a hilarious visual.
Xbox
You ready to go? I am.
I am with my cannons. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has said time and again that he's proud to have the support of Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and CFO Amy Hood, who control the checkbooks at the company, which I love. He's just like, yeah, they're fine with it. They're cool with me making this decision.
And even without the Xbox Games Pass bringing in much profit, the Xbox division of Microsoft is doing exceptionally well right now.
The Xbox division is enjoying very strong results lately, due in part to the COVID-19 pandemic that's keeping people at home and playing games. Microsoft reported earnings on Wednesday, and the Xbox division saw its revenue rise by a massive 64%, which means it was up $1.3 billion.
And the sales uptick was led by quote-unquote growth in Xbox content and services. Content and services revenue jumped by $1.2 billion, up by 65%, due in part to quote-unquote record engagement, as stay-at-home measures remain in place. Additionally, Microsoft said it enjoyed strength from third-party games, which pay Microsoft to be on their store.
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said, quote, "It was simply a breakthrough quarter for gaming," adding that Xbox Game Pass is seeing record subscriber growth on console and PC. However, he did not provide a new figure beyond the 10 million subscriber number that Microsoft announced earlier.
Not only did content and services revenue rise, but hardware also posted gains, rising by 49% thanks to more consoles sold than before. And Microsoft just recently discontinued some Xbox models.
I think this also helps put in perspective when we talk about maybe, the Xbox not doing so well or who's actually signing up for the Game Pass. This article says like, well, they're $1 trillion company, so it's fine at the end of the day. I think it's funny that, some of us worry for these companies like, oh, like, is Xbox going to do well? And they're like, A, we're doing really well. We've actually, grown a lot, but B, we have tons of money. And if we burn some of it, it's okay.
That's exactly right. That's the whole business model that Sony took with the PlayStation 4 that I think, Microsoft began to pay attention to, recognize they needed to do the same thing on, which was specifically, you can take a loss on certain upfront short-term aspects and gain on the long-term, from subscribers to microtransactions to all of that stuff that can come with it. And you got to think, everyone who's jumping into Games Pass, if they jump in and get these free games and they want to maybe add an expansion pass, or maybe they want to add some extra visuals to their game experience and skins or whatever it may be, you're going to pay the little bit extra for that. So that starts to add up, especially if you have 10 million people doing that.
It really does. And it seems like they've added a lot of value to the Game Pass. This isn't like those subscriptions. There's a lot of startups that might be like, it's $3 to sign up. But then after a month, that number jumps. And every year, every month, the price seems to go up. It seems that Game Pass has, stayed at a pretty low cost for a while now. Who knows if it's going to go up in the future, but seemingly not anytime soon, at least.
Yeah. And just to see what Waffle was saying there, like, I've bought DLC for free games that I've gotten via the Games Pass. This is a model that does work, and you have to think, if you have this many people internationally using your service and doing that adds up in the long term. And you do honestly, that quote from Greenberg is a strong one, that it's like, if we deliver a good product, this will make people talk about it, and this will bring them into a kind of life partnership with the company. And that's something that is so strong, and part of the reason I think there's so much commentary about feeling like the Xbox Series X is under delivering for a next gen console is because so many people are excited about what Microsoft has offered them and what they've enjoyed with the current gen system, that going into the next gen, they're like, what are we doing? Let's make sure we keep this going into the next gen.
Right. It seems like Microsoft is going more of maybe a lifestyle approach of like, we want you to be using Game Pass. We want you to be part of, the Xbox fam. We want you to be using Microsoft and Xbox versus the PlayStation is more about, the individual consoles and games themselves. This seems like they're trying to, be more integrated. Which reminds me of that logo that we saw had like a patent for, or copyright for the Xbox logo. They redesigned it and it looked like a snowboarding logo. It looked like a Burton logo or a Hurley or whatever. And I was like, when I think of lifestyle and how they want you to buy the Game Pass and want you to keep using Xbox, it really seems like they're trying to, take hold of being like a brand, which I think they've always done to an extent, albeit poorly. Like those Xbox onesies you can get that are like green and black. And
$150.
Like,
and you're like, I'm not paying. I have a Pac-Man onesie. I paid $20 and I'm proud I paid $20 and I'm proud to own a Pac-Man onesie. Never going to pay 10 times that for the Xbox onesie.
The Xbox onesie. And I don't think I've ever seen like a PlayStation onesie, or like PlayStation doesn't try to, go to these other areas of your life versus just the actual game. They're like, this is what we're good at, we're going to do it, versus Xbox is more of like, how can, we be part of your life?
That's so true. And it really is, something to be said, that the Games Pass is a place for Xbox to do very well and to continue to generate and bolster their community, to continue to bring in, third-party titles and do very, very well for themselves. Hopefully, that mindset that they seem to have with this carries over into the next gen, and we see Xbox thrive and we see it do very well, because I want, a rising tide raises all ships. I want to see everybody benefit in the gaming industry. So I'm happy to hear some of this information regarding the Games Pass.
Absolutely. Me too. Our next topic is more about Red Dead Online and the update that there was that clown protest about that arguably successfully worked. And the Red Dead Online update adds the Naturalist role, legendary animals, and a new outlaw pass and more.
We're going to check out the trailer that Rockstar Games has dropped for the Naturalist. Here we go.
I've been in the field now for 3 years, studying the hidden interconnections between animals of all species, including the locations of some truly impressive varieties.
While you're camped out in the woods, the rest of us are doing some real work. What about you there? You a hunter?
Let's learn from nature, not destroy it.
Survival of the fittest.
How do you sleep at night?
On the tiger bedspread, my dear.
That was pretty awesome.
This looks so fun. This is really cool. I feel like they're adding a cool new element to Red Dead Online.
That is very true. So as we saw there, this is a new role that comes with 7 new legendary animal species to track down, a wilderness camp, a naturalist-specific free roam event, and more. And that was the trailer that we just saw, kind of showing off some of this information.
It looks super fun, and there's also the Red Dead Online update 1.20 and a ton of new content that came out as well. So the world of Red Dead Online continues to evolve with a new frontier pursuit featuring unique path and activities that will help you carve out your life for yourself on the frontier.
This is something that I think Rockstar has been needing for some time, as Crispy just said it right there, which is, I liked it for the first 2 weeks, and I did too. I enjoyed online in the initial part of the beta, but then I just realized the stress of trying to make money, trying to get new stuff. It was just like, this is not fun. There wasn't a lot of variety to it as well. But now they're kind of like, it seems like they're going for that sense of there's so much to do now. There's so many paths to take. If you just want to go explore the land and the world that's there, we got you covered. And, them kind of saying, or not kind of saying, them saying that you get to be just this hunter and focus on the PvE aspect of the animals in the wild. I think that's a really cool take on a game that feels like we just go around and shoot each other.
Right, me too. So there's the free roam events as well, and in the naturalist role, you can protect a legendary animal and work with other players to free and escort one from poachers, and you can cooperate with others to sedate and tag animals as well among certain species. This seems like a cool element of this game that's online that I haven't really seen before. It kind of makes it feel like MMO-y.
Yeah.
With these quest lines, I could see them like in the future, if even more options are created, that Red Dead Online could, rise to even more popularity.
That is a strong observation there, as I wonder where they're going to continue to go. Are they going to continue to figure out different roles for people to play in these worlds? What is that experience going to be like? Is there a way of becoming known, within RDO,
right, renown.
as, like a type of renown for your class? How often you're hunting different types of animals? Do they continue to put different types of animals into the world specifically for these hunters? I think it's a really, really cool take, and hopefully they expand on other classes that they have. Like there was one that was kind of like an explorer type treasure hunter and finder class that you can pursue as well, along with like the bounty hunter class and the trader kind of class. I hope they go into those areas and they really like branch those out into different types of trees and make that just more, because that is what people are asking for. This does not have anywhere near the same feeling that GTA Online has. And I think a lot of people are upset about that, because it's like, why do I have this grandiose, amazing experience with GTA Online? And it's taking a long time for you to deliver that same experience within Red Dead.
Right. It's bad news to read from the chat that, Crispy liked RDR2 online for the first 2 weeks and then that's it. That makes me wonder, is there only 2 weeks of content in this game? I haven't played it myself, but it doesn't seem like there's, a ton of content to explore, nothing close to GTA Online. They've added a lot of, different kinds of weapons to this game with this update, and different variants with those weapons, different animals, this new element of, being a naturalist. There's, a lot of content that's been added, but I wonder how much substance that content has, and how long that's going to keep players playing the game, or if is this something that after a week you're going to be just still asking for more.
Yeah, I hope not. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Blade Runner. I really hope they continue to crank out these updates. I hope the clowning around of the RDO community was one that got a clear message across to Rockstar is, yes, you have a moneymaker and you have one of the most popular games out still with GTA Online. And they're even updating that. We talked about that a couple of days ago. The new heist, new location, all that stuff's dropping. But please make sure you feed us. Make sure to give us content. As I might not just be a fan of what GTA Online is, and I want to have that same type of fun, but in this setting and in this world within these confines, because I just enjoy this thematically more than I do, a modern time kind of simulator. So I want to believe that Rockstar is paying attention to this and doesn't 8 months from now have to deal with another protest from the community to get some sort of update out.
Same. I feel like, the whole theme of RDR2 is really cool. I think they've got something really special there with how they've created the game, with how, the original story really captured a lot of gamers. I think people love, the Wild West, this frontier, the new frontier. And it would be a shame, I think, if they don't keep adding updates and supporting this game, because, maybe it'll take a couple years for it to really come to full form, such as we've seen, with the Outer Worlds. But I hope that they don't forget about this game, because GTA is their main moneymaker.
Yeah, there is a lot to what you just said that I liked, which was just the fact that, the Wild West setting is one that I think a lot of us enjoy seeing it, because there's just an aspect of, wow, time was not that long ago that people were like
not
this,
that long
they
ago.
behaved this way, they interacted this way. And so the more storytelling we get in that experience, the more narrative-driven aspects of gamifying this world really draw us in. I think this is one of those titles where if they're gonna do, hey, we're just gonna focus on online and we're not gonna bring any DLC for the game itself, which is a masterpiece. It is beautiful. If you haven't played the single player of this, then great. Just make sure you continue to crank out narrative focused DLC for this game regularly.
Right, absolutely. Crispy says, better than Medieval. This is kind of the only big Wild West game that I know of right now.
Right?
It's the only one, that could dominate, this genre. I agree. I think, having DLC, story focused would be really good for them. The game looks great. I hear it plays really great. It plays, really smoothly. People are very happy with it overall. And I hope to see, more good things.
Yeah, same. And to Boz's comment there about it feels too recent for this to be in the clown protest. The only thing that I'll note on that could be the case is that when they released their last update.
Can I be right back for a second? I smell something burning.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a quick second. Okay.
So the one aspect there of Red Dead Online that is very, very important is that you released 3 types of classes versus now they just released 1 class. So could just be something going on there. And hopefully we see Kaisa come back with thumbs up and approval. Anytime I smell something burning, I'm immediately like, stop everything, figure out what that smell is. There's also the whole sometimes you just smell something burning because you're near other people who may be burning stuff.
got my AC fixed, and I think it was something from there. I don't know, but I just turned it off. So nothing's on fire.
That is a safe choice. Safe
Don't
choice.
mind me.
Nothing's on fire.
Yes. Where were we at?
So all I did was just respond to Echo's comment of the Naturalist seeming like it came out too soon in response to the clown protest. The only thing I was addressing to that was the last time they released a DLC for online, it was 3 separate classes. So it makes me wonder if maybe this was the class that was ready to get out early, and they were like, we need to get something out early. Let's just go ahead and push out the Naturalist instead of waiting to release 3 more together in the future.
That's a good point. You know, with the clown protests, they only happen for a few weeks. I don't think any developer, can have a substantial update within that time. So it seems like this was something that was planned already. I'm glad they released it. We were wondering the other day why they didn't just announce that there were updates coming to at least like let fans know versus, having players just like aimlessly wait around, for an update to happen. So I hope we're going to see, new classes come out soon as well. And that this isn't the only thing that was being worked on.
Same here. And maybe our last story for the day, as this one is an interesting one because this individual sometimes says things that you're just like, I don't know what's going on with him whatsoever, but thank you for your contribution to gaming. As Gabe Newell has come out, this is the man behind Valve, has come out and said, I prefer the Xbox Series X over PlayStation 5, quote, because it's better.
An amazing quote. And now we've got some good news, for the Xbox Series X over the PlayStation 5. So as we get closer to the holiday launch for both the PS5 and Xbox Series X, the debate over which console is more powerful, or at least the fan favorite, is heating up, hopefully not on fire. So we're always constantly looking for innovators in the gaming industry to share their insight for the 2 platforms. And, today's discussion comes from Gabe Newell himself, the leader and co-founder of Valve Corporation.
So during a brief interview on New Zealand's The Project, Gabe Newell shared his thoughts on being stuck in New Zealand as he and his family weathers the global coronavirus outbreak. The interview comes as a part of a small press gamut as GabeN and his friends work to put together a concert in New England as his way of thanking the community for their hospitality.
GabeN was asked by one of the interviewers about which of the new consoles, PS5 versus Xbox Series X, was better. His short answer, Xbox.
And so when he was pressed about why by the interviewer, Newell replied, because it's better. And he went on to say, I don't have a stake in that race. Obviously, we do most of our development on personal computers, but of the 2, I would definitely go with an Xbox.
And that's seemingly all he really said. So both next-gen consoles will be achieving different methods to the fidelity and performance necessary to handle the future of console gaming, and every developer has their own preference when it comes to the 2 platforms. With multi-platform titles having to be written for both Xbox Series X and PS5 hardware, the highest level of output may only be limited to first-party developers that can truly utilize the full potential in each console's power. For the PlayStation 5, it will be the speed of the custom SSD, while for the Xbox Series X, the raw power, teraflops, may give the Microsoft-powered console a competitive advantage.
Either way, the holiday season is going to mark a major skirmish that the console wars are eagerly there that we're anticipating. Now, if either company would just make the first move and actually announce the price of their next-gen console, I think we would all be happy. And I love the comments in the chat. I love Coombs, Lord Gabe, bless me, Gabe knows. And then you've got Game Guardian, Gabe is delusional. And I think this is hilarious to Gabe Newell's personality within gaming.
I think this is so funny. He doesn't say anything, about why the Xbox is better at all. An article came out today that was talking about how Xbox was saying that the technology doesn't really matter anymore.
Yes, the Guardian article, yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of bring that up. And they were saying that the technology doesn't matter, and that for game developers, they're not limited by the specs of the technology, and they can kind of design what they want. But the way it was announced just made it seem like, the technology in the Xbox Series X isn't anything you should look at. Is, the message I initially got until I read deeper into it. What did you think?
Yeah, I kind of got the same reaction of, it grabbed me and pulled me in, and I was taking a look at it and breaking it down. What I took away from it was the new bar that is the technology of gaming is it's in this space of now the worlds are your oyster. Game developers, go create what you want, how you want, and it's up to you to deliver a truly amazing experience with the hardware that we provide you. There's an aspect of other individuals who have commented on the hardware as actually matter as actually having a matter to the equation of having a good experience. We know that Tim Sweeney's commented on the PlayStation 5 and how the SSD is going to have a huge factor in what those games are going to be able to do. And we also haven't got a chance. This is a one thing that I will say. This isn't to be like PlayStation over Xbox or whatever. This is to say is there are aspects of the PlayStation 5 that we haven't got to experience yet until we sit down and demo a PS5, like the Tempest audio. What is that 3D audio going to be like? What is the haptic feedback DualSense controller going to feel like? There are so many elements of the next-gen consoles that we haven't yet gotten to say one way or the other, because us as consumers don't have the chance to go out and try them and feel them and see, what fits us. So this is an odd comment, and I just love how he's just short answer, Xbox, because it's better. Like, it just felt so simple of a response to just move on to the next question that I'm like, really? Does he even actually believe that, or is he just saying that because he doesn't want to talk about it?
Right. I would rather hear, a pitch of why it's better. Like, oh, Xbox is better. I don't know, because Hellblade is on it. Like, even that's enough of a reason. Like, versus, or maybe I just have always liked Xbox. I am loyal to Xbox, versus just saying it's better because why? Why is it better? Like, this is, one of the first big endorsements.
Kids test. Like when kids would take a test, it's like complete sentences.
Right.
Like he would get negative. No, you got to give us. There's a reason why.
Show your work. I can't. I just did it in my head. Is how this feels. This is one of the first big yeses for Xbox that we've seen, and it seems pretty unfounded.
Yeah, the reason it's better is because Gabe said so.
That's what we are literally going off of right now.
That's spot on. Actually, we have a little bit of time to jump into this last story, because shifting over from the Xbox Series X to the PlayStation 5, this is a rumor. However, this information could be pretty cool as to what we're going to see with the PlayStation 5, as some images have dropped that the outer plates on the PlayStation 5, which is just essentially, as the internet says, a giant modem, are removable.
So the PlayStation 5 is certainly a unique looking console, and frankly, not everyone is a fan, but Marone and I are. That said, there may be some good news for folks who aren't into the console's black and white dual tone look. Some seemingly legit leaked images from an assembly line in China provides a closer look at the PS5's white faceplates, and it seems they may be fairly easily removed and replaced, to the point it feels like there's a chance Sony may sell replacement faceplates. But for me, my first thought was, so that means a lot of creators are going to be designing their own on Etsy, and people are going to be getting a lot of custom faceplates if they are removable.
So if this is the case, here's the image that some of the images that did come out, is that this is what the faceplate looks like when it's removed. Now, of course, we have to take this all with a grain of salt. These images don't appear to have any Photoshop, as some people have gone in and broken it down to see if there's any Photoshop going on. There's also a slim chance that this could be just an elaborate hoax involving fake 3D printing components. However, when you look at these images, as I scroll through them, it's only 3 of them. There is an aspect of this that does feel legit.
Right. I think what's notable is that this isn't, attached with screws. It looks like they're little pegs that you can just kind of hook right onto your PlayStation and easily switch them out. Also, cooling was a big part of the design. So, maybe if you wanted better cooling, you could even take the faceplates off potentially.
That could be the case. Who knows? And if this is the real deal, it looks like they're held on not with screws, but like you were saying, these pegs. And so maybe it could be that they sell these faceplates as basic, so that these individuals like you're talking about would buy them, paint over them, and then sell these custom ones. But it also just could be that Sony plans on selling swappable faceplates, and it wants players to be able to customize this is that Mark Cerny comment of, we want you to feel like your PlayStation 5 is more connected to you.
I would definitely feel like it's more, personable if I, had my like gamer tag on there or got like a cool design. What is another detail that kind of confirms this is that, the piece of paper, in regards to the size and scale of the faceplate lines up with the estimations of what the PS5 is. So it adds another element of this does look legit.
It does. And for me, a DGN faceplate would be great. I love that suggestion. For me, this would just be kind of one of those moments that goes, this lines up with what they've said about the PlayStation 5, what we should expect about the PlayStation 5. And that to me is also kind of one of those things of like, this would be an aspect of a console that someone would go, I get to express myself with this console. So it doesn't just have to look like a black trash bin or a black box, but like I can make it look how I want to make it look. Maybe I want one side with a bright pink, one side with a dark blue. However I want my PlayStation to look, they might just be providing us now that opportunity to finally have it.
I think this would be so cool. I can already, imagine the Twitter posts of people having like clear panels with like glitter in it and, all these different like embossed things, and the market for, how a lot of Switches are really customized. I could see that extending to this as well. It also makes the PlayStation 5 seem more like a gaming PC where, when people have their own builds, they are really into, adding their own LEDs, adding their own look, picking out their own case, like really making it their machine. And I think this is a way that you can have the PS5 feel like your machine as well.
I think you just hit it on the head right there. The PC Master Race loves to show off their customizations with their PCs, and Sony might be well aware of adding features like that do bolster more people to get involved because they're able to do that, and that would make a ton of sense. I hope this is true. I'm excited to see it get confirmed. If it gets denied, oh well. I do expect at some point that we will see various custom controllers and PlayStations as we've grown to know and love from PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3.
Absolutely. But that does bring us to the end of our Tuesday News Day, July 28th. This brings us to a close here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone new who came and checked out the channel. I think Echo was like, I didn't know you did this news show. Yeah, I do this news show. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends that Marrone and I are here from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time every single weekday. We are called Daily Gaming News because we are live every single weekday, Monday through Friday.
Bringing you that gaming news, the latest in the gaming industry, right to you, computers and tablets and phones. Also, you can check out all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, which is linked below. And we will actually have the channel still going, which will be showing reruns of other segments that we've done. This one will replay. So for anybody who might have tuned in at the end and want to see everything that we had to cover on DGN Tuesday Newsday, I like that, by the way, a lot. So, make sure to keep it locked here and keep watching. And for those of you liking our content and following and subscribing, thank you so much, DGN fam. We can't do this without you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I am Kaisa.
I am Marrone. We will see you all next time.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.